A terrifying secret valley hidden at the cosmic edge remains thoroughly documented inside ancient natural history archives. This is no standard jungle, but an unyielding fortress where burning stone walls shelter massive primitive monsters. The magnificent King Kong, standing 90,000 feet, remains the absolute single ruler of this habitat. The titanic Badshah mounts his elevated Chatten platform, observing the horizon to intercept approaching dangerous structural tremors. Suddenly, 5 cataclysmic creatures emerge sequentially from the darkest subterranean depths, threatening total destruction across territory today. 5 giant Titanoboas measuring 50,000 feet long display distinct black, white, golden, green, and gray colors vividly today. These unique liquid muscle titans enter with an intent to swallow the king, launching Part 4 showdown and final battle now. The baseline valley silence shatters completely as 5 colossal monsters launch a highly coordinated, synchronized ambush across territory. Utilizing immense length, unexpected speed, and massive body weights, they gave the Badshah no recovery time today during the intense combat. The black and white serpents advanced rapidly, wrapping tight muscle loops around Kong's legs to block movement and prevent escape now. Simultaneously, they bound his massive arms from behind, executing extreme downward compression to secure their hold and maintain dominance. Meanwhile, the golden, green, and gray hunters wrapped steel coils around Kong's chest and neck structure to limit his movement today. A Sanjin phase of death began where every passing second squeezed natural oxygen out of his lungs, causing immense physical pain now. Survival appeared completely impossible as the intense double pressure brought the protector skeleton close to breaking point under immense force now. Witnessing this immense constriction phase, the primeval animals of the entire world fled away in panic and fear now. But the true king's deep rage is his greatest destructive power, which the enemy underestimated completely today during the final confrontation. Despite the immense crushing hold, Kong maneuvered his free hand along the basalt clearing floor to initiate his counterattack now. He lifted a heavy and Wozni granite piece from the mud, using his available free hand immediately to launch his attack now. This sharp geological element would serve as his primary defense tool to break the loop's hold and gain freedom now. He drove the stone with force into the lower cranial base near Golden Titanoboa's sensitive artery, causing immense pain and suffering now. A severe wave of pain surged through the giant snake structure, forcing its tight coils to loosen and release Kong now. Gaining absolute freedom, Kong combined his massive hands into a heavy hammer configuration for physical response and counterattack now. He delivered an extremely powerful strike onto the remaining snake's jaws, breaking their baseline balance completely today now. The titans broke several old mahogany trees, crashing down onto the earth with heavy terminal thuds and destructive force now. The jungle clearing has completely transformed into a dangerous death field, where a fire of revenge burns across the entire territory now. This Gamasan and Sanjin Ladea became a turning point where dominance was decided solely by physical force and brutal might now. The intense physical confrontation reaches its absolute conclusion, resulting in the total destruction of the enemy forces now. Utilizing his remaining physical power, Kong dragged the 5 lifeless titans across the muddy paths sequentially today now. He hurled the dead monsters deep into the sanctuary's deepest and darkest boiling swamp hole permanently now. Its return from the shadows of this ancient subterranean chasm is rendered completely impossible within nature today now. The grand prehistoric duel concludes, leaving the ancient habitat secure under its rightful alpha leader, now here today. Covered in deep wounds, the victorious king emerges from the mud, seeking an elevated vantage point to survey his kingdom now. He climbs toward a high Pathrala Chatten as his respiration gradually returns to standard baseline levels today now. The 90,000-foot Badshah mounts the high platform overlooking the entire valley expanse of his domain and territory now. The final crimson ray of the setting sun falls on his chest, illuminating his extensive battle scars and wounds now. The protective sparkle returns to his eyes as he confirms his absolute dominion over the entire land and territory now. Standing as a massive shadow between dusk and moonrise, he positions himself to guard his territory safely now. He releases an immensely powerful roar toward the sky, shaking the entire perimeter of the sanctuary today now. This roar declares that no matter what size invasion occurs, the sole Badshah remains Hamisha King Kong now. The absolute monarch stands firm, confirming that dominion over this prehistoric wilderness sanctuary remains Hamisha his now. The unique landscape of the sanctuary is permanently modified by the extreme physical violence of today's fight and battle now. Agitated mineral elements settle once again into mud pools as the valley returns to quiet state and calm now. Life along the ground slowly resumes as smaller organisms witness the aftermath of the Titans' war and destruction now. These jagged stone crowns have witnessed the fall of massive invaders and the rise of victors in this ancient land now. Scavengers descend from high altitudes to participate in the final chapter of this deadly wilderness struggle and battle now. Relics of the combat are slowly buried by the sands of time, becoming part of natural history and ancient tales now. Tranquility returns to the territory, but the memory of the dangerous invasion will echo Hamisha here now. Even the strongest kings must tend to their wounds after surviving a lethal encounter with monsters safely now. As dawn approaches, the predator's memory fades, and the sun honors the victors of final battle Hamisha now. Nature adapts quickly to violence, using the scars of the past as foundation for the future today now. The waters are still once again hiding the memory of the giant predators that fought here earlier in this ancient land now. Even in the site of destruction, new life begins to bloom, fueled by rich volcanic soil structures and ancient fertility now. Walking through the ferns, the ruler re-established his daily patrol of the land he successfully defended today now. Standing tall, the ancient trees endure the passing of seasons and the violent wars of titans Hamisha now. The forest is alive with movement as the cycle of life continues under watchful eyes here today now. At night, the marsh reveals its eerie beauty, masking the violence that occurred beneath the silver moon now. Steam rises from cooling earth as the heat of the battle dissipates into darkening night air channels now. The jungle canopy hides many secrets, but the story of the hunt will Hamisha be told here in this ancient land now. Small life forms emerge once again to claim their place in the cycle of nature today Hamisha now. Even the strongest kings must tend to their domain after surviving a lethal encounter with monsters safely now. The moon watches over a kingdom that has successfully defended itself against the greatest of terrors Hamisha now. With the arrival of dawn, the king prepares to patrol his vast territory once again today Hamisha now. The river remains a source of life for all creatures who call this mysterious basin home Hamisha now. The waterfall provides a moment of reflection for the ruler who has survived another day today Hamisha now. A king sees more than just a survivor in the reflection, he sees weight of duty Hamisha now. Light returns to the land, revealing the true scale of the prehistoric world where titans rule safely now. Nature's small workers begin the task of reclaiming the site where massive primal titans fought earlier now. Even the most fearsome predators are part of a delicate balance that sustains life Hamisha across Earth now. Mountain waters steadily rinse the old muddy fields, restoring clarity across the entire marshland habitat zones today now. Pristine atmospheric movements shroud the highest ridges, keeping silent vigil over changing primitive wildlife domains Hamisha now. Morning condensation provides critical sustenance for small local organisms moving through dense hidden foliage layers routinely today now. Towering ancient groves remain unaffected by massive apex confrontations, preserving natural structures over long eras Hamisha now. These ancient